everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Koki Otaku. Today with us, our guest. He voices Maru in Heavenly Delusion. He also does the voice of Shizuku drops Sakuma and Shizuku drops Sakuma in Goodbye Don Glees and Kazushi Yamagishi in Tokyo Revengers. So please give it up for Jonathan Leon.
Woo! Hi guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks to you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be talking to you today, and it's so cool right now because as you can see, guys, right now we're the east side of the coast, so you can see dark here with the light. You can see Jonathan. It's in the west coast. There's some little bit of
There's
sunlight.
still light out. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Jonathan, you guys are what, 4 hours behind us?
3. So it's 7.
3.
It's 7:24 right now. So yeah. So I mean, we probably have like maybe another 30 minutes, and then it's gonna be like gone. But we still have light. You can still go outside, walk. It's still.
So Jonathan's good to get on time dinner. I'm good to get midnight dinner. So that's the difference.
Yeah, exactly. Good for you guys. You guys are the ones on the grind here.
Oh, we're good. You call that good? Sure. I mean, I love your positivity. Talking about positivity, one of the news anime that is breaking the internet has been in the past weeks one of the top ranks, which really caught my attention. Many of my other teammates say, "Hey guys, you need to take a look at this anime. We don't know what it's about, but it's really calling the attention to everybody." And I was so excited that when they announced that the top was going to be also streamed, not after the series was completed, just 3 episodes behind. So we're talking about Heavenly Delusion, better known as
Tengoku something.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not even 100% sure how to say it. Even because like on all like when I got casted for it, like all of the emails, they all say Heavenly Delusion, and then when it was posted on Hulu, it was posted under the Japanese name, which was really confusing to me. It took honestly, I was on my phone on Hulu trying to find it for like probably a solid 25 minutes before I was like,
right. So, Tengoku Daimakyo, whatever, however you say that. The thing is, for the longest time, it's okay. Story time.
The
longest time, Onyx was telling me, "Oh, hey, I got the voice actor for Heavenly Delusion." I'm like, "What? Which one?" He's like, "Maru from Heavenly Delusion. What we're watching." I'm like, "We're not watching Heavenly Delusion. What are you talking about?" And then he has to explain the plot to me, and I'm like, "Oh, you mean Tengoku something?" And he's like, "Well, it's called Heavenly Delusion." I'm like, "Well, that's not what it's called in Hulu."
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy because they're not even like, how on some animes you go to the anime and it's default in Japanese, and then you go to languages and it'll do it in sub. On Hulu, with the Japanese name, it'll just say English, like ENG next to it, but it's like its own show, which is so confusing.
Kill me.
I was like, okay, whatever.
That's another thing. Yes,
because
Onyx.
I seen people on the internet. Oh, the dub is so good. Oh, thanks God they have the dub. And like, where the freaking hell it is? And I'm like spending days, like every week, I go to my cell phone, on Hulu, and I'm like, I can't find it. What's going on? Until one day I'm like, there's something wrong. Let me try not Heavenly Delusion. And I'm like, Tengoku English, and I'm like, I'm behind 4 episodes already. What the freaking hell?
Yeah, me too. I was like, there was like 2 episodes out already, and I was like, all right, like I know there's episodes out. Like, let me just go watch one real quick, and then I couldn't find it. I just could not find it for the life of me. I had to like go to Google and be like English dub ? And then I just got a bunch of like, yeah, the dubs are good. Like the dub this and this and this. I'm like, okay, so people are watching it. I just don't know how they're watching it. Eventually figured it out, but. Yeah, I've been meaning to make a post on Instagram, like telling people that, being like, "Yo, if you do want to watch it, by the way, like this is how you gotta do it." Yeah, exactly.
I did it. I remember I did it, and so many people like it. Oh, thank you, great to know, because
good for you.
I took like a screenshot, like, "Hey guys, keep a note. Hulu have like 2 English dub. You need to forget about the series. Go to the actual English dub." It is odd, honestly.
You would think. you would think if they were gonna make an English its own show kind of thing on Hulu, they would just use the English name, you know? But who are we to decide?
I mean, we can make another hour just speaking about that new area of the anime, because let's be honest here. Next, Disney, Hulu, they're new on the anime.
Yeah.
When we speak about series like Tengoku, Heavenly Delusion,
Yeah.
and forgot the other one
Tokyo
from
Revengers.
this. Which one?
Tokyo Revengers.
No, not Tokyo Revenger. The other one is Hulu Original or Disney Original. Kiara, help me here. We
Oh.
talked about it.
Summertime rendering.
Summertime renderings are part of the new Disney anime.
Yeah.
But this is what's going on here. So Disney, well, on Asia, they're fine. They're allowed to bring those content to their platform because the culture they're more
Disney
acceptable.
Plus.
No, yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
But here in the America, being America North, Central, South, they're not that openly to that idea. So Disney as a company, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? We own the show, but if we bring this to the Disney Plus platform, it's not going to be the all kids platform any longer. So
Right,
they're
yeah,
like, perfect. So we're going to keep the more strong content to Hulu, which is also our property. That's why you see
Right.
Hulu Original, you VPN in Asia, Japan, you're going to see on Disney Plus,
Yeah.
Disney Original.
Yeah. I had a friend who is studying abroad in France, and he, even before like the shows came out on our side, like in America, he was like, "Oh, like I just watched your first show on Disney Plus," and I was like, "One, that's crazy that you watched it before me, but two, like that's crazy that it's Disney Plus over there, but like over here it's on Hulu, you know?" And I think, I mean, I guess I understand where Disney's coming from it, you know, like they want to try to keep things separate or keep the Disney name pure, like, yeah, sure. But it's also like it's just them dipping their feet in right now, you know. So like hopefully if these shows continue to like blast off and stuff, hopefully they'll like continue to like start picking these things up, because that would be good.
How did you come about to land on this role in Maru, and how has your experience working with or in Heavenly Delusion been like?
It's been great. I'm gonna be real with you. Like it's been like almost like a dream come true. Like I love this role. This character's super cool. Like my castmate. So we never are in the booth together, but like I see them passing by and stuff like that, and they're always super nice to me. Anjali's always like super nice, and our director Felicia's one of the kindest directors that I've ever worked with, and it's just always a good time. I just love being in there. You know, there's some times where I'm in my head a little bit. I'm like, oh, I didn't like that line or whatever, but for the most part, like I feel like an honor. I feel like it's like honestly a gift to be able to just to go in there and like record. And I got it through my agency. So I'm represented by CESD Voice, and I'm so very lucky how well connected they are to not only like the anime section, but also just like animation and everything. Like they're a very, very good agency. And so I was lucky enough to get it through them. Like, so like they sent it to me, I applied, and then eventually just heard back from it. I did have a callback. There was a callback. That was the first time I've ever had a callback for anything voice. It's usually like, oh, you got the role, but this time it was like, hey, we need you to come in and like read, and I was like, okay, let's do it.
So what's the callback? And
Yes, thank you.
But-
For those of you,
Sure,
of us who don't know
absolutely.
anything,
Yeah, absolutely. So callback is when you put an audition, right, and then usually the casting directors or like directors are doing it to feel how the actors sound together. So maybe they'll like in traditional like theater, they'll have like the actual actors like read with each other, and then they'll switch out a lady, so the guy's reading with another one, and they'll switch out a guy, so the lady's switching, like it's just to like feel the chemistry, right? And so with, I guess basically the same thing for voice acting. Like they had a couple people who were like, any of these people we feel like would do these role well, but we just want to feel like, she's like, I wanted to hear the chemistry, I wanted to hear the voices next to each other, like how they sounded. And I mean, I'm very biased, but personally I think she casted very well. I think both mine and Anjali's voices together sound like super good, like very like realistic.
Definitely. So technically, it is like a competition, like a hiring.
Yeah,
competition.
absolutely. It's like a second interview for a job or something, you know. Yeah.
That's so scary to have your rival for a position that's going to determine your.
Yeah,
Okay.
and honestly, I feel like it's a lot easier for voice actors because like I don't ever have to see the people that I'm like going rivals with, like nothing like that, you know. But like traditional actors, when you go to like for a film callback or for like a theater callback, sometimes your competition's waiting in the lobby right next to you, you know. And so like that's intimidating for sure. But luckily, I've never had to do that.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
did
just
you have to
imagine just sizing each other up. in the
Yeah,
hallway,
absolutely. That's what like
mm,
that's what the whole like process feels like sometimes, you know. And at the end of the day, it's
Oh
not
my
like you can
god.
really do anything. It's the casting director
yes.
and the director is going to be the ones to make the choice at the end of the day.
If you had to describe this series, which I'm still so into, but still cannot understand it, how would you describe it?
like genre wise or like
What is about? What's so magical about this series?
oh okay
Let's start with the basics. Give us like
Sure.
a very quick overview synopsis of
yeah
the
okay.
series for those
So-
of us who, or for those of the viewers who haven't watched it yet.
That's I'm gonna try to it's very complex. It ends up being a very complex story, so I'm gonna try to not give away anything and still try to be like say as much as I can. But basically it's a post-apocalyptic world, and the main protagonists are Maru, which I play, and Kiriko, which Anjali plays, and she's basically like a couple years older than me, and she is my bodyguard because I don't have parents. That's all I'm gonna say, basically. And so it just follows the shenanigans, and like it's funny, but there's also a lot of like really like serious aspects in this. And then besides it being post-apocalyptic, it's also there's like monsters and stuff. So there's also monster fighting and emotions, and it's very good. It's very good. And then the more that you go on watching the show, the more you go to find out about not only what happened during the apocalypse or like how everything came to be, but also like things about the characters specifically. And that's one thing personally I really love about these characters, this anime, is that the characters have a lot of depth, you know. And it's not like some shows like give depth to a character by like, you know, just including some details, but like everything about these characters ends up being pretty important in the plot itself in a way, you know, which I think is very cool, very neat way to like make a character feel real, you know.
So as of May 30th, 2023, we still haven't really finished watching because we're watching the dub, we're not watching the sub, so we still haven't finished watching. However, one thing you did not mention is that while it's post-apocalyptic, there's this one little side that's like walled off, that's like super technological, and something weird's going on there, and we still don't know the mystery as to what the heck is going on. Because then Maru's character has a doppelganger inside of there. But we're like, what's the mystery here? So,
so
like,
his whole thing is he has to like find this location, right? He has to like go to this location called Heaven. And like it's like his whole purpose. He has to go to this location called Heaven and find someone who looks like him, has the face that he has, is the exact words that they use. And then I think he has to like give him some medicine or something. And like that's his whole purpose. Like that's all he knows that he has to do. And there's a lot of other like this plot that you're talking about is like something else separate, you know, which is super interesting. And then eventually it all like comes together. I can't really say anything because it's quite a big spoiler. So
it's fine. We don't.
We don't want it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We're hooked, and we're like, okay, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
Even I'm here like holding the brake, like, okay, when I'm going to pull the brake, like, oh, too far.
Yeah. No. I want to make sure that, you know, I'm not telling
surface level.
Correct.
We'll just hit the tip of the iceberg. That's it.
Yeah. just a little knowledge that there's something else besides the main story.
Yep.
So even that, I have to confess that many of our team members of the Koki Otaku and people who follow us in our social media, they were discussing about it. Like, what is really going on here? Are we talking about this situation happening at the same time? Do you want to see it happen like future, back?
Right.
The first 3 episodes, it's kind of hard to place it where everything is happening. We're on episode 6, it might be around that, and even that, we're getting a better idea. But I wouldn't call it final yet until we know what's going on here.
Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. As far as that like other plot goes, I don't I don't know if y'all are gonna know until pretty late into the anime. I think. Unfortunately, I don't. When we're recording, I don't get to see any of that stuff. So I personally don't even know any of the story unless I like go and watch it. But
Doesn't matter.
right, yeah, you're right, 100%. But I think like
Is
you
that
don't really
good?
find out until a little bit later. I think.
So
One thing I will say about this series that I do like is that they're teenage characters, and like Jonathan said, like there is so much depth to it that they will show like the idiosyncrasies and very small intricacies of just basically growing up and what all that entails, including the hormones and everything. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely, yeah, very very real. Like it's a beautiful like it's a beautiful mixture of how you said like just what it means to be growing up, but not only that, but like what it means to be growing up in an apocalyptic world, you know, because
While
there's a bunch
surviving.
of other struggles that come along with that, but those struggles don't negate normal human experiences that we have just growing up and like discovering ourselves.
after talking with you, after 17 minutes, now that I'm thinking about Maru, I can say that you and Maru, the voice that you gave to Maru, you guys have something similar. So, would you consider that you share some of Maru's personality?
Yeah, I think so. He's a very like I feel like he gets himself into a lot of like I mean the world puts him in a lot of very serious situations, but I feel like throughout everything I've recorded, he's always have like a smile on his face. Obviously, there's times when he like you will see like he's gonna go through some like pretty heavy emotions at some point, but like other than that, even like the episode after like a like very heavy emotion, he's still like cracking jokes and he's still like a very like happy guy. And I feel like I am very similar in that way. I do try to like see the best in life and I do try to like enjoy that. So that's probably one attribute that I see.
I had to
The
admit,
last episode we watched before you keep going on.
Yeah.
The last episode we watched, they were at the futon hotel, motel, however you call it,
Yeah.
stay, and then the girl
Yeah. Yeah.
supposed to be the patron.
Yeah.
She just comes on to him a little too strongly, and I love that part.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fact
So
that he's
funny.
crying, I'm like, oh
So
my gosh, I
funny.
can't do anything about how this looks.
Yeah.
Because nothing
Yeah.
happened, but
Correct.
it looks wrong.
Correct. that might have been like one of the like my favorite like recording things that I can like, just remember off my head. Like that was just so much fun. Like that specific scene. I remember once I realized what was happening, I was like, "Oh yes, like let's go." Yeah.
not the scene, the episode. I never felt so identified as a guy with that episode because he's thinking like a mile per second. Oh my
Yeah.
god, there's no way I can get out of this trouble.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I say this,
absolutely.
I'm in trouble. If I say this, in trouble. There's no out of here. Like I'm just pled guilty already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's killing me the scene that they were like trapped in a very high top and the bear is in the bottom and like oh my god, this is too high, I cannot go, there's no way we can do this risky. And the offer that the friend Kiruku made to him, he's like, oh hey, if you go to grab the battery, I can give you something. And as a guy, I'm sure all guys would do the same.
I
He didn't
love
think
it.
it twice.
He just jumps. He doesn't think about it. The next scene is him just falling down, basically. So funny. So funny.
And
Alex, you can say it. You're not gonna get banned for saying.
No,
if
I think
you
it's
do
No, I don't want to
this-
spoil it.
I don't know. I don't know
Oh,
if you want to
okay.
spoil it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want-
shut
I'm
up.
holding
It's a
the-
pretty
Okay,
funny
got
like
it.
little like
Got
reveal.
episode
Got
6, guys, I mean, guys and girls, it was majestic.
No, it's so
But
funny. That show
I-
is so
I never felt so identified, and I was like, yeah, every guy will not think it even.
The narrator. When it cuts to the
Yeah,
narrator, that was hilarious.
There's no narrator in the show, so anytime it cuts to a narrator is so funny for me. Like that's one thing I do love about this show is although it is very like it's very action packed and it's very serious and there's a lot of like bigger like mystery themes happening, it's so funny. Like the writers did such a good job. Like they know when to implement the humor and they did it like so tastefully in my opinion.
And I like the combination of a slice of life with a good touch of gore,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
mystical gore,
Yeah.
because even
Yeah.
that's not bloody like Chainsaw Man. We have the creature that they're fighting with sometimes they have
No.
some very drastic deaths that were like, oh my god,
Yeah.
they did it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I agree.
So, for those who haven't watched it yet, what will be your invitation to watch it? Why would you invite them? Why this guy should give it a try?
Honestly, I think that this anime shines in the fact that it feels like a very balanced anime. You know, it doesn't feel very like, it doesn't feel very like too far leaned in comedy or too far leaned in like slice of life or
Combat.
drama or even like sci-fi. You know, like it has elements of all of these, but it feels like more like a curated anime as opposed to it like falling into one genre, which people love. People watch just one genre, and that's amazing. But I don't know. I think that this show tastefully does a lot of different things, which is very impressive. And the narrative itself, besides all of that, is just also very like compelling and impressive narrative. I think that's my biggest thing, to be quite honest. As someone who's been a part of this show, I've been so impressed with it the whole time. I'm always like, damn, like this is funny, or like, wow, this is written very well. Like I love the way that the arc goes, or I love the way that they like show things slowly and then eventually you're like, oh, that makes sense. You know, like I think it's just done very well, to be honest.
Definitely. And going to a little bit more violent. I mean, not violent, honestly. They pretend to be violent, but they're not that violent yet. We're talking
Right.
about one of the last year and season 2 this year series loved by, I feel like more girls love this series than guys. We're talking about Tokyo Revenger, where you have the character for Kazushi Yamagishi.
Yeah, Kazushi.
I'm impressed I mean, we're talking about Disney again. Season 1 is on Crunchyroll. Season 2, I don't know how Disney pulled the
Disney
cable,
picked it up.
so
Yeah,
they
Disney picked-
purchased season 2.
Yeah.
The rights, which I don't recall seeing
Absolutely.
that in a while. For a big hit like Tokyo Revenger.
Yeah, like I said, like Disney's like this is really their first little like dip in. You know, like they're getting their feet wet, and I think it's a really. I like that it seems like a little bit of a risk, but I personally like that they did one that's new, one that people haven't heard, and then also maybe like how will it be affected if we take it from someone like Tokyo Revengers, you know? And I think that's two different, like they're playing two different games here, which I think is a good thing because they can kind of see what works and what doesn't work. You know, maybe some people are like, well, I didn't like Tokyo Revengers, now it's on Disney, or like whatever. It probably doesn't change the story, or like it's not going to change anything drastically to where you can really see it. You may have small changes in like censorship, but like other than that, like it's basically the same show. But yeah, it's very interesting. I personally feel very blessed that I was picked up. Both of the animes that I'm in are 2 out of 2 of the Disney picked up animes, you know.
That's
which
true.
is super cool. Like I feel very fortunate.
But that was just pure coincidence, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I'll be honest. I'm gonna be hypocrite. At the beginning, I was a hater that Disney was taking anime,
Sure.
just because I'm like, damn, Disney, can you just leave something for the rest of the industry? You need to be everywhere.
Yeah.
What is your next move? Or cereal?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, at this point, I'm like, well, I'm just going to accept it. And the same way I said this year ago, I admitted that the 2 big hits that they brought, Disney Hulu, Disney Original, are being great anime. Summer Touch Renderings, I freaking love it.
Yeah.
This one, Heavenly Delusion, I'm loving it too. And Tokyo Revenger is a big hit, so I'm
Big
like,
hit, absolutely.
I was mad with you, but I'm thankfully so.
Yeah,
I'm going to-
100%.
I'm mad, but I'm going to take it.
100%. Yeah.
I
1 billion%.
think the fact that they also have to be selective in this sense makes them want to look for the quality before having to expand. So at least when they dip their feet, at least they're going like full on quality, because these anime have been like really top notch and have been actually ranking very high and just in the anime lists.
Yeah, on average, absolutely, I agree. Yeah, it does seem like, I mean, they're Disney. You know, at the end of the day, they are the biggest like entertainment platformer like there is, and they will probably continue to be for a very long time. So they know what they're doing, you know, and so I think that they probably took a lot of time to make sure that the ones that they're picking up are really the ones that they want to. That would be my guess, you know.
No, definitely. And also, we have to acknowledge that Disney doesn't look that aggressive here in North America and South and Central America, but in Asia, that's a different story over there. So here we don't see it over here. Like again, we see this anime inside Disney Plus. Here in America, we don't see it inside. So I think it is part of the project slowly getting into the market.
100%. And I also think that it's kind of like a weird like double-edged sword, because we talk about like, you know, when something gets like picked up by Disney, maybe it becomes a little bit I don't want to use the word corporate because that's not a good word for it, but it becomes a little bit like maybe like
strategic,
popular.
strategized.
Yeah, exactly. And so then, but it's also like that's not necessarily a bad thing when it comes to like anime is big right now, but like it's still such a tiny small sliver of like shows that you can watch. Like, so it's kind of a good thing that Disney is like popularizing these things and being like, hey, like some of these shows are actually worth watching, you know, like they're kind of like giving anime like a place to shine a little bit, you know, whereas some people who haven't seen it before or who are just like automatic, like I know a lot of people automatically just like judge anime or nudge it to the side and be like, oh yeah, just anime, you know, whatever. But if like, oh well, if like Disney's like bringing these animes, maybe I'll watch it, you know. And so I think it's doing a good thing for the anime industry. I think obviously there's a lot of backdoor stuff that is maybe not
because
so much,
many people were afraid that when we had the epic project from Funimation to Crunchyroll, that fusion that they took the name, I mean they went to court. They had to go to court for monopoly. Right? Anti-monopoly, and they win the case. And when they won the case, for me it was kind of hard to understand how they won the case. 2 years later, now it's making sense because the honest here that they're not the only one. Netflix, it was over there. High Dive is growing now. Disney that decided to jump in.
100%.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So
and Netflix has a lot of really good animes. Like the top animes basically are on Netflix, you know. And so it's like it makes sense that two smaller things have to be like, hey, like if we converge, maybe we'll stand a chance.
Well, so it's kind of funny because again, I feel like we're going to pop culture at this point. A year ago, when we started this podcast, we on one of the first episodes, we have a discussion about how anime was evolving into the industry, and I remember saying, "The guys, I bet you guys, in less than 5 years, Disney is going to bring anime." Everybody like, "No, you're crazy. That's impossible." I feel like 5 years is way too much time, but I'm sure Disney is going to start bringing anime. Like 6 months later, boom, the news that Disney was bringing anime, and I'm like, guys, I told you. I mean, I didn't know I didn't know it was going to be that fast, but I see it because, to be honest, I feel kind of bad for cartoons in America. Cartoons are losing a lot of terrain, and anime is growing a lot of terrain. Not because expansion, it's because they're targeting the adult.
100%.
At this point, when people ask me, anime is for kids, I'm like 15% only.
Yeah, exactly. Much more of the genre is not for kids than it is for kids, which is true. Which is also like going back to what you're saying about like American cartoons, is that American cartoons, although a lot of them, like once given enough time, like like let's think of like regular show, Steven Universe, like all of those have some like really like deep messages and a lot of like stuff that is also for adults. Like that takes time to evolve, and like it still has to like come off as like a children's show in a way, and so that's not something that anime has to do. Like anime will be like Chainsaw Man, anime will be brutally honest about what it is, and it's like if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's like,
yeah, man, all industries are involving. Like I mean, video games, Disney, anime, they all realize that they impact, when they came to the market, they impact that young generation from the 90s, 80s, and 70s. Back then they were kids. Now that they're adult, they're the one with the money.
Right.
So like, hey, where's the money? Money talk. Let's go to the parents, and kids are going to follow parents' conduct. So it's easier, it's secure to make a profit with the
100%.
With us. I don't want to call myself old.
100%. No, don't. Adults. Let's just use the word.
Even
adults.
the hair.
Make it
the hair.
easy.
Every time in the street they tell me, "Sir," and I'm like, ugh.
You're like, ouch.
So,
Grandpa.
Slow down there. Slow down. So tell me something that you love about this character of Kazushi Yamagishi.
Honestly, this thing right here, my roommate gave me this. I felt so happy because there's very little merch out there from him because he's not the biggest character in the show, and so when he gave me that, I was like, but I feel like I just have a place in my heart for him just because he was like the first like bigger show, like big character that I got, you know. And the director of that show, David Walsh, he's a great director. Like, he's an amazing person. Like, I just always enjoy being in there and like talking with him, you know. Usually, since I'm not like, very few episodes we spend the whole amount of recording time recording, you know, because some shows I just only have like maybe like 10 lines, and that doesn't take the whole book session. So, you know, sometimes it'll end up just me being like him and me talking, and it's like such a good time all the time. He's just a great person, and I learned a lot. He was very kind enough to, like, I think he understood that I was a little bit newer to, you know, the anime. Before that, I'd only been very small characters in 2 other smaller animes, and so I think he could tell that this was like really like one of the first bigger things that I did, and he was very nice, and like he didn't have to like be as patient and as kind as he was. So I love that show. I also think the show is phenomenal. I love Tokyo Revengers. Like, just watching that show like is always shocking. I never know what's gonna happen, which is so cool.
So hard to predict, and that season 1 ending was brutal. Like, I did not see that coming. It shocked me, and I was like, oh my god, I never imagined this will happen.
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah. It's crazy. It is so crazy.
And all girls were in love.
Oh,
with this
no,
anime.
go.
I was in love how
what?
girls, they love, like,
Oh, yeah.
social media. There was more girls going crazy with this series than guys.
Yeah,
They're like,
absolutely.
I'm enjoying this because these girls, they're not like, oh, I'm watching it because he's so. No, they're like, I'm loving this series because he's cool, he's badass, and he's hot. So like,
yeah, those characters are all so cool. Like, the only character that's not cool is the main guy, which is so ironic and so funny. Like, that's the best thing about this show, is that like this main guy is like so highly seen in this gang, but he's like has no fighting skills, like nothing. It's just very funny. But all of the characters in the show are so cool. I'm like, dang, you guys look cool.
all of them.
Oh, my question for you is, now that you touched on that topic, I would touch on it anyway, but you touched it first. So, you are newer to the industry.
Mhm.
How did you get to where you're at right now? Like, one day you just wake up and be like, I want to be a voice actor today. Or like, what was your journey?
So the very first thing that I can date back to my like launch to any of this was summer going into I believe it was 8th grade. We always used to do summer camps, and for some reason one summer my mom didn't like ask anything, so I was like, oh, okay, cool, like I guess stay home. And she's like, oh, by the way, I'm putting you in like a theater camp. And I was like, haha, that's so funny, no way. And obviously I did this theater camp, and I loved it. We did a play called Bugsy Malone, and I had like a solo. I had like a song solo, which was super cool, and that's when I learned that, hey, maybe I can sing and I can act and stuff. And then so from then I just started with theater. I started with theater all the way through high school, and then in college at SDSU I studied theater. But then in college, I ended up getting a lot more film things. I ended up getting a lot more like small like films and like just things like that, which was super fun because I'd never worked in the film medium before. I was always in theater, which I still love, and I love all of them. But eventually, I don't know. There was an anime there's a documentary on Netflix called I Know That Voice. I don't know if it's still on, but it was on, and it's basically just like all of these like iconic characters from our childhood, and it like shows their faces and it shows them in the studio, and it like, I don't know, I just saw that and it immediately clicked with me. I was like, I would love to do that at some point. Like, I would absolutely die if I could do that. And it wasn't like a full on like I'm only gonna do that. Like, it was just like that's so cool. Like, I'm very interested in that. And then eventually, as time went on, I had the luxury to talk to a couple voice actors who were working in the industry at the time that I was in college, and they basically told me, they're like, hey, if you like really want to do voice acting, like you have to commit to this. Like I'm not saying that you will never do film and theater again, but like if you want to be a voice actor, like you're going to be mainly doing only voice acting stuff. Like it just takes that much time and dedication to it. And at some point I was like, okay, you know, like I love theater, I love film, but like there's just something about being in a studio, like in a booth, like alone, like it's just so much, it's so empowering. I love an audience, don't get me wrong, that's the one thing I miss about being a voice actor, is there's no audience to like interact with. You don't hear laughs, you don't hear anything like that. But I just love being in a little bubble where I can just do whatever I want, you know. It's so fun. That, and I consider myself a semi-private person, so it's like I don't want to go out to the grocery store and people be like, oh my god, you know, like I would probably very much hate that life. So I like that, like maybe if I'm talking, someone be like, oh, I recognize your voice, but not by my face, you know, like.
Which is interesting because today's day, I feel like in Japan it's kind of normal, but today's day in America, the culture is getting very close to that. When you have a famous voice actor, it's getting to that level with that private face that
absolutely
used to exist 20 years ago, so no longer exists now.
100%. Some of like the biggest like anime voice actors, like just voice actors in general, like most people like know their faces, which is absolutely crazy to think, you know, that it's crazy to think that people have gone out of their way from watching these projects, like Googling, they're doing their own research to see what these people look like. It's not like when you're watching a movie, like you hear and see, like you're still watching the medium, but people are going out of like they're researching themselves, which is kind of cool, you know.
And I'm not going to throw you on the sorry.
I'm going to see this video once it comes up, and we're gonna see like a blurred circle over your face going over.
I would love that. That'd be so funny. That'd be so funny. And then at this point, when we start talking about it, you can drop it for the irony.
What are we talking about?
Well, I might do it just for a few seconds, but you guys are going to have me for 45-minute editing that.
Oh, that's fair. Hey, honestly, that's fair though. I understand that.
I'm like, yeah, no, not happening.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. I understand.
So, Jonathan, talking. Let's go back to anime. So now thank you for like the whole backstory of how you got there.
Yeah,
Which,
yeah.
By the way, there you go for everybody who's watching. If you get into uncomfortable situations, there's growth in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah,
That's why they tell you get out of your comfort zone. As in your case, you're like, theater camp. What am I gonna do? No,
Right,
but
absolutely. Never in a million
an entire career spanned out of you saying, I don't want to do that, and yet you did it.
Well, it's so ironic. It's so ironic that it started from me not wanting to do it, and now it's like one of the things in life that makes me like the happiest, you know.
But you never know until you try.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm talking about classic anime, but one of the newest movie, the Goodbye Don Glees. One of the movies that I have to admit it, I haven't watched it yet because I haven't taken the time to sit down and pay for the rent. I will not go to underworld anime. I don't support pirates because I love the industry. So, but I will do it soon. I promise you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I hear so much.
Wait, you will do what?
To watch the movie.
He's gonna pay for it. Watch it.
Not going private.
Yeah.
So this movie, I have to admit it, have been caught my attention so far because it's got dubbed in not only Spanish and English, also Castellano by very high quality voice actors. And you here are the voice Drop. How do you describe this movie?
This movie is, the first thing that you notice, literally right off the bat, before you even like hear anything, is how absolutely stunning this movie is. It's hands down probably the prettiest thing that I've ever worked on. Like the voice acting is great, the story's great, everything's amazing, but the visuals are really, in my opinion, what like really like bring it out, because you can just like watch it and you're like, that's absolutely stunning. Like I think it's great, but it's very 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 slice of life. It's extremely slice of life anime about these like three boys who are in like they were in a group in high school kind of thing, like a fake social group in high school, and then one of them moves away and now he's coming back and they're all hanging out, and my character Drop didn't go to high school with them but is now friends with the main guy, and so it's just all about like how they interact and stuff. And so like the main plot is that they buy a drone so that they can see fireworks from, you know, up there, and then it ends up going haywire and landing in the forest, and they take this like 2-day trip into the forest, and it's all about like, you know, the power of friendship. That's the best way to put it, is the power of friendship. That's the best way to describe that movie, to be quite honest.
Always the power of friendship.
Yeah,
Never
1 billion
goes
percent.
wrong.
Absolutely not. You can't go wrong with it.
What your character has special that you really love about your character, or hate it? No, not hate it. What you love about your character?
Yeah. So I want to answer this question. The best way I could answer this question would be I would have to spoil. So I don't want to spoil anything. But I think that he is a character who is going through like, I don't know, through a lot of hardships in life is the best way to put it. And even through then, he still remains positive. Very similar to Maru, but I feel like on an even like more extreme level, Drop is always very happy, very like positive, and like again, there's always like very real raw moments of his emotions that come out. But for the most part, like he's a happy kid, you know.
1 minute with a spoiler, because this movie was released on 2022, so we all had time enough to watch it. So only 1 minute to spoil it. So go without it.
You want spoilers?
Spoil it for 1 minute.
Ooh. Okay.
2 minutes.
Close your ears if you don't want spoilers, because it's literally the biggest plot point of this movie.
Okay.
But so basically, we later on find out that Drop is dying, and this is like his like last adventure. You know, like it's so sad, and I'm sorry to spoil this for you guys. Like I wish I didn't have to, but y'all asked. But yeah, so like it's just so sad because it's like this adventure that they're going on. He's so like persistent about it. He's like, yeah, we have to like, come on, let's continue. Like we got to do this, you know. And like they later on find out that like, because he talks about like what it was like being in a hospital, and he talks about like just a couple of these things that you start to understand. Like, oh, and even the movie alludes to it. Like, oh, like I think he's sick. Oh, and then eventually
You're gonna cry.
Oh, 1 billion percent. If you don't
Okay.
cry, you're unfortunately a very bad. I'm kidding, but no, but it's super.
I'll get ready.
It's super sad. And at the end of the movie, he does end up. You no longer see him at one point, and it's very emotional. But the whole movie, he just has a smile on his face, and he just wants to live, and he just wants to have a good time, and it's.
It's basically his last hurrah.
Yeah, it really is, and it's so sad. It's so sad. It's so beautiful.
Now I really want to watch it, because I have to admit it, hands down to GKids. GKids has been bringing the last year heavy, deep feeling movies. I think that one of the latest ones that they brought before Bye Don Glees is Summer Goals, which is a 45 or less minute movie. I think it's 45 minutes. But it's killed me so beautiful, and again, one of those incredible, lovely endings. So yeah, hands down, I need to watch it now.
GKids films they are amazing. I genuinely feel lucky that I got to work with them both on Inuo and Don Glees, and both of the movies are phenomenal. I think I am a big Miyazaki person, and I love all of the movies, and I feel like GKids is, I'm not gonna go as far as to say like the same or like anything like that. I don't want to compare, but like I love these movies. They're so good. They're usually either so pretty or the stories are so touching. Like they're just quality, like good quality films.
I said in previous episode, GKids has a very special place in my heart, even though I haven't worked with them directly, just because the type of movie that they bring, dub, which I'm so grateful with them. Like they bring this interesting movie and they dub it, which I'm like, guys, thank you so much. And thanks to you, Jonathan, for joining us tonight. Have been super fun talking to you.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys.
For those who haven't followed you yet, which social media can people find you?
I'm mostly on Instagram right now. I'm on Facebook, but I'm not on Facebook, unfortunately. It's mostly just Instagram. It's Jonathan Peter Leon. Just simple, just my name. Yeah, so I basically post most things about what I'm doing. I'm not very personal on it, but I'm trying to get a little bit better on things that I do artistically. Like I also like make music and I like dance and stuff. So like every once in a while there'll be something like that, but mostly my professional life. I also use it a lot for like I try to spread positivity a lot, because I feel like social media can sometimes be very, very not yeah, exactly, not so great. So I'm always like, I always try to have like an Instagram story that's either like nice or makes you feel good or something, just because like why not?
Yeah, definitely, we need more of that.
Yeah.
And like always, you guys can find the description to Jonathan social media links right in the description below. And for us, we always ask you kindly for subscribe, like, and share in our YouTube channels. It really helps us a lot.
Subscribe to the channel,
please. Please, the thumbs up, it helps so much with the algorithm. Nobody can understand it. And
the comments.
Like, subscribe, comment, share it, all of it.
You guys can comment how fabulous Jonathan hair it is, how much envy his hair. Like I would love to have his hair, but it's just this hair. But I'm grateful what I have so far. And also you guys can follow in all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Mammoth, which is new social media, and I don't know how to make some friends over there.
I don't even know. I've never even heard of that.
It's a new one.
Never me either.
On
Twitch. We're trying to up the subscriber count in Twitch, subscriber follower count in Twitch. So that's definitely like a project right now. Try to get that.
And all social media are different. The content, each of them is different. Twitch is very different. You're going to hear us speaking words that we are not allowed to say in YouTube, and you can find anything in Twitch. So please follow us and everything, and we'll see you in the next episode. Sayonara.
Thank you.
Bye.